Okay guys, after a few months of working on the Crosley 718B here, I've got the electrical restoration done and the majority of the cosmetic work here as well on the chassis itself is time permitted. And just a few things left to touch up. I still got to route my pilot lamp out to the front of the dial assembly. Put a safety cap in here. This is just a temporary cap just to bring things up. You guys saw where I created the tapped volume control for the tone compensation circuit here. And that worked out really well. Seems to perform good. If I get a chance, I'll unsolder that and we'll see if we can tell a difference in the response itself on the old 5-inch dynamic speaker. The dial assembly, of course, reinstalled. The only thing I got left on the dial assembly itself is the front back plate that the glass itself adheres to. And I'll do that when the weather allows me to get to that point. The band switch, of course, was problematic, and then I had a little problem here with one of the mica capacitors right here in the oscillator circuit. That was creating some problems for me as well. Let's see, let's take a look back at the restoration journey. So I tell you what I think I'm going to do with this one. I'm actually going to start with the electrical restoration and just see how far we can get with it before I spend any time on the cabinet, just based on the condition of this chassis. Being so rusty and maybe in a ocean side environment. See here, I'm going to definitely have my work cut out for me on this one. It'll be some slow work for sure. We'll see if we can get there. You can see I reassembled it here just so I can understand how the condenser tracks. As I mentioned earlier, I still want to get the power transformer and the IF cans off the chassis, and most likely the coil assembly that you can see here. Adjust the amplitude here of the signal. Got this thing very close here to where it should be. Gives you a feel here for how the adjustment itself changes. You guys can see what I want to be using. I wanted to use an epoxy versus my other silver conductive. And you can see I've drilled the 2 holes, maybe a little tighter or closer to the carbon track than I wanted, and form my conductor here to solder back to. A little more tweaking here, and you can see I'm pretty close to my 225K that I was shooting for. I've already validated the transformer, just a quick basic test, and everything appears to be in good shape. You can see all the grime and everything on here. I'm going to spend just a few minutes and clean this up. Alright, we'll just leave them in there for a period of time. Great progress here. The citric acid here getting the crud and rust off of the transformer bell housing here. So let me go mix up another batch here, and we'll leave it in here for a day or two and see what else we can get off. And here's a look at the chassis itself now, and you can see it did clean up pretty well. Little pitting here in certain areas, nothing I can do about that. You can see here in this area. But overall, a significant improvement, and a lot of elbow grease went into it, of course. The transformer itself, too, back here had a lot of pitting, so I went back with a flat black just to kind of minimize the appearance of that. You can see the dial assembly back in place here with the new felt that's cut out here. And again, I still got to put that piece on the front. We'll get the dial on when the weather allows me to do so. And a couple tubes here still to replace. I've got the metal output tube here, and I want to put a glass tube in its place, and then I've got another weak tube as well on the tube tester that is still functioning pretty well, as you can hear.
This is Walt, baby love. I'd like you to join us for praise and worship this weekend here at Gospel Church.
And again, this is before doing any alignment, so I'm actually kind of surprised. You guys saw me, I did a pre-alignment on the IF cans at 455 kilocycles just to get me in the ballpark. So I'll go ahead and do the alignment offline. I appreciate you guys watching the kind of a recap of my work here over the past couple months. Again, I couldn't produce videos on all of this due to other situations, but you know, there's more work to be done. I'll try to capture that and do a final video at some point on the chassis once I get the tuning assembly back in place. And we'll see how it goes on the cabinet itself, if we can get back to a point where the weather allows me to tackle it before winter sets in on us. Okay, you guys take care, and thanks again for watching.